welcome back to the first episode of Season 11 of Laker Connections. Unfortunately, Nate Moser will not be joining us as he has graduated, but Jake Vanderbroek is here to keep the show going, and with a tie on this year. Jake, start off the first show of the year with some men's soccer.
Well, Brandon, the Oswego State men's soccer team, they were unable to win their first SUNYAC game of the season as they lost to New Paltz by a score of 4-1. Caleb Asamoah was able to find the back of the net in the 11th minute. It was the junior's second goal of the season, tying him with Ryan Young for the most goals scored. Asamoah is also currently the team's points leader with 5.
And still searching for their first SUNYAC win, the Lakers took on the Oneonta Red Dragons. Oswego was only able to get 5 shots off and only 1 was on goal. The game was tied at 0 until the 81st minute, and that's when Jeremy Petoni ripped the lead goal and eventual game winner as the Red Dragons would edge the Lakers 1-0. And the Lakers move to 3-0 in conference play and will take on the Plattsburgh Cardinals this Friday at 4 p.m. at home.
Switching over to the women's side, the team remains unbeaten in SUNYAC play as they tied New Paltz on Friday. No goals were scored in the contest. The Lakers had a 23-6 advantage on shots, including a 9-2 spread and on-goal opportunities. 6 of those opportunities came during the 2 10-minute overtime periods. Emma Allen recorded 2 saves as the junior earned her 3rd shutout in her last 4 appearances.
And coming off the tie, the women's soccer team would stay home and play Oneonta the next day. The offensive woes continued for Oswego as they only had 2 shots on goal. It would remain scoreless until the 35th minute when the Red Dragons scored a rebound goal in front. Oneonta would tack on another one in the 61st minute after a scrum in front. That would be all the scoring as the Red Dragons handed the Lakers their first SUNYAC loss of the season.
Well, Brandon, over the past 2 seasons, we've been seeing this men's soccer team. They've started out well in non-conference play, but it's gone downhill once they enter SUNYAC play. Why is that?
Well, I'd have to there's a few different reasons for this. The first reason that you have to say is the offense. Obviously, this team, they only have 8 goals in 8 games. 9 games. They're not even averaging a goal a game right now, and they're not communicating well. They're not really pushing the ball, and they're also not getting the ball in their zone and really attacking or shooting. So it's really just going to be setting up an offense and just trying to get the ball more on your side of the field. Another thing is also the yellow cards. They have 16 yellow cards this season already, averaging almost 2 a game. And you're playing sloppy, and it's definitely not helping them. And if they want to win, they first need to set up an offense, but they also have to play a lot less sloppy, communicate, and you have to go back to the basics of soccer to win games.
Yeah, absolutely, Brandon. You can't be just playing with anger, for goodness sakes. Another thing, what you were pointing out, they got to be more on the counterattack. This team likes to play a steady pace all throughout the complexion of the game, but once they play the opponent's pace, so usually what happens is most times in the second half, this is where Oswego State loses their games. They play the opponent's pace. Once they start getting the counterattack, defensive miscommunication, just like you said earlier. And Brandon, when you're playing defense most of the second half, it's never a good sign because they end up giving goals, and that's what we've been seeing from Oswego State so far.
And like you said, the last few games, they've either let up a lot, they let up 4, but then also they only lost 1-0. So as many times as you have Brian Terra standing on his head in net, it's not enough. No. You really, like you said, get on the attack, control the ball, and just get back to the basics of soccer. That is the best way. That's the best way to win. And right now, 0-3, they still have 6 games left in the SUNYAC, still plenty of time, but it really is just going to be keeping the ball away from Brian Terra, and as soon as you start doing that, maybe you have a chance to get the ball in your offensive opportunities.
Well, Brandon, I wouldn't get too comfortable because, next thing you know, once they get more in the SUNYAC play, if they keep playing this pace, it's going to be a very long season for them. After the break, Brandon and I will fill you in on the latest regarding the women's tennis team and Oswego's new athletes of the week. You're watching Laker Connections on WTOP 10.
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
this is the moment I knew his future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Is How Are You Precious okay?
Take out the precious. It's way too cheesy.
Okay, yeah.
Just go, hey, how are you?
Nope.
How's your day?
Yeah.
Don't be cheesy.
Yeah, I figured.
So, what'd she say?
She's still typing. I'm not sure. She never takes this long.
I wouldn't worry about it. Give it a few minutes.
Okay.
Hello and welcome back to Laker Connections here on WTOP 10. Students are recognized every week by the Oswego Athletics Department as Athletes of the Week. This week's awards go to Haru Kobayashi for women's tennis and Corey Marshall for golf. Kobayashi went 3-1 over the weekend, including 2-0 in the Lakers' 6-3 victory over the Golden Eagles of Brockport on Saturday. During Oswego's loss to the Fredonia on Friday, the senior and partner Aaron Vargo won third doubles respectfully. And for Corey Marshall, the senior led the Lakers' A squad to a first-place finish while taking home the individual medals honors at the 21st annual Oswego State Fall Invitational. The Webster native shot 1 over 72 on Saturday, followed by a 76 on Sunday, the total 148 strokes for the weekend. He was also selected as Men's Golf Athlete of the Week from the Empire 8 Athletic Conference.
And the men's golf team stayed home to host the 21st Oswego State Fall Invitational. After Sean Paul Owen scored an 81, a 10 over par, he came back Sunday with the only score under par for the weekend, scoring a 70. Marshall also had a great weekend, scoring a 72 and 76, scoring a low score of 148 for the weekend, leading the Lakers to a first-place finish in the home invitational. The men go to Nazareth in 2 weeks before their winter-long hiatus.
The women's tennis team looked for win number 2 of the season after a slow 1-7 start. The only match won by Oswego was a double pair of Haru Kobayashi and Aaron Vargo, who won 8-7. Fredonia would cruise to an easy 8-1 win. And after a tough loss to Fredonia, the Lakers were able to bounce back as they defeated the Golden Eagles of Brockport by a score of 6-3. Bridget Bender and Samantha Spence earned the Lakers a match point as they claimed their second doubles in 2 sets, winning 9-8 and 9-7. Haru Kobayashi and Aaron Vargo claimed their third doubles match in an easy 8-1 victory, while Eliza Johnson was able to pick up a victory in singles to seal it for the Lakers. The Lakers would have another home matchup against Cortland. Spence took home 2 points for the Lakers as she won her singles match and doubles with Bender. Kobayashi also scored 2 points for Oswego with a singles win and doubles win with Aaron Vargo. The deciding point would go to Eliza Johnson winning her singles match in straight sets and helped edge the Lakers over the Red Dragons 5-4 and end a season SUNYAC record at 2-5. And switching gears over to the field hockey team. The Lakers unfortunately lost their first home game in conference play to Geneseo by a score of 5-0. The Oswego defense was tested all throughout the contest as they defended against 33 shots. Goalkeeper Joanna Chrisman recorded a career high of 18 saves. You know, Brandon, what has happened to both the Lakers' offense and defense with field hockey? Well, this field hockey team, the first thing that you definitely have to look at is the injury that was sustained to senior Maddie Nelson. Yeah. Big defender. I believe she was 5'7", just a lot of height, and really helped out Chrisman a lot.
And then as soon as you saw her go down, I believe with a knee or leg injury, you saw a lot of the defense just kind of go away from the Lakers, and that's where they lost it on the defense. They don't really have a leader anymore, so they're going to have to look for in these SUNYAC games to find a leader on the defensive side to cover for Nelson. And on the offense, they haven't really had too much communication. They've made some bad decisions, and they're also not getting the ball in their offensive zone a lot. So it's really just kind of communication and talking more that's really going to help them get to the ball, move the ball a little bit more, and maybe they can get some shots on goal, as they haven't done that well either.
Well, yeah, no, they haven't, especially their last game against Geneseo, Brandon. You know, I was waiting for them to have at least one shot, but most of the game, Brandon, they were in their own zone. Geneseo was putting a lot of pressure on them. They had so many corners. There were like a total of 22 corners in that game, Brandon. You can't win games like that. And offensively, when you go down the field just twice and you're in Geneseo's zone, you're not going to be able to win games like that, Brandon. You got to attack this offensive zone. And Geneseo, you got to give it a lot of credit to them. They double-teamed Katie Reynolds, SUNY Athlete of the Week, just last week. So you got to give her the ball. And, you know, there's got to be other players that are going to have to step up. You know, Manny Nelson, that's a tough loss. But you got to look for these 12 freshmen that are on. You got 4 seniors and all these 12 freshmen. These freshmen have to step up right now to make plays for Oswego. Ones I got to look at, you got to look at Jenna Rogers. She has to be the big contributor for the Lakers. So, you know, Brandon, it's going to be very interesting to see how the rest of the season is going to turn out for this field hockey team.
And it's definitely going to be also listed to Michael, another young one that's really going to have to step up. And Leah Romanowski, she comes off the bench in about the middle of the game. She's really going to have to work and just really, as soon as she comes off the bench, she has to produce. And she's done that very well. She's played some great defense and also worked well on offense.
All right, when we come back, volleyball analyst Ben Greco will give us a preview of their big weekend in conference play. Don't go away. You're watching Laker Connections on WTOP 10.
Cook foods to the right temperature using a food thermometer. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
Hi there. You might wonder what a famous Hollywood celebrity like me is doing reading in the dark. Is this some new sort of Hollywood method acting? No, this is quite real.
Did you know that Americans use about 4 times as much energy per year as the global average? We waste energy left and right, despite the fact that the dirty fossil fuels we use to power our energy sources wreak havoc on the natural world and destroys valuable wildlife habitats.
By reading with my solar-powered night vision goggles, I'm saving energy and looking sleek.
You don't have to sit in the dark like Ed Begley Jr. to save the world. Fight climate change by speaking up for cleaner, smarter energy, including rooftop solar.
Oh, that's way better. Oh.
Do your part and find out other world-saving tips at betterthaned.org.
Welcome back to Laker Connections here on WTOP 10. I am joined by the sports editor of the Oswegonian and volleyball analyst, Ben Greco. Ben, thanks for coming in tonight.
Thanks for having me, Brandon. I like I always say, I don't like seeing myself, but we'll do it tonight.
All right, there you go. Hey, you know, that's the glory of TV. All right, so the team is right now 1-2 in the SUNYACs, but are 12-6 in the season. Can the team's good play overall propel them through their next SUNYAC matchups?
You know, I'd really like to think so, Brandon. A lot of this team has so much talent outside of conference, as we've seen. They had a big win against Clarkson right before the week, or actually right after the weekend with 4 sets into the match, or 4 sets to win the match. Handle the ball well, play great defense with blocking. So out-of-conference success really does need to translate to the SUNYAC play starting with this weekend. Allison Sullivan said, I actually did a story this week for them. Allison Sullivan said the team is just having a lot of fun. They're dancing. They're enjoying their time as a team and everything. And it really is important to point out that this past weekend, Oswego had a huge upset loss to Potsdam. Potsdam is really down in the standings. The team wants that game back. So this weekend, talent-wise, they'll have a very similar weekend coming up from an opponent standpoint.
And now, like you said, they have an invitational play coming up now. What do they have to do to continue to win? What is their main concern right now?
I think right now it's going to be defense and blocking. Head coach J.J. O'Connell said the team is able to smother other teams' offenses, which really does pressure them, obviously. You're looking at this team that really just needs to block, get their hands up, play some defense, handle the ball well. And it also comes a little bit into offense, but really it's going to be that defense that makes or breaks the team.
And actually, speaking of the defense, Sullivan and Phi are number 1 and number 2 in the SUNYACs in blocks %. Besides, obviously, their height, both of them being over 6 foot. What do you think helps them create such a dominant brick wall at the net?
So, as you just said, being 6 foot helps a ton. But really, this offense, having the backing offense behind them, you're up in front of the net, but to have the 4 or 5 girls behind you really picking your team up on offense, it's that kind of mental support, kind of having that morale, be like, all right, if I miss the block, I got my team behind me, but if I get the block, I know they're going to help me out. This weekend's going to be really crucial where they're facing 3 vastly different teams. You got a team like New Paltz, who's way up there, they're 15-3 overall, undefeated in the SUNYAC Conference. You got a team like Fredonia, who's right around the same talent, and Plattsburgh, who's completely defeated in the conference. So that defense, as well as the offense, is really going to help them out.
So they have a whole, they have top tier, then middle, and then bottom.
And it's exactly what they had last weekend, too. Geneseo was that top tier team. You had Oneonta right about with them. And like I said, Potsdam, even though they lost to them, they were a little low in the rankings.
All right. And in 18 games this season, only 2 have gone into the crucial 5th set of only 15 points instead of the regular 25 points. Do you think that hurts or helps the Lakers getting into the heart of the season right now?
I really don't think it has much of an impact. A lot of volleyball teams, I shouldn't say a lot of, volleyball teams should, during practice, condition for 5 sets. During practices, they're always preparing to be like, hey, it may not always go to 3 sets. We got to be ready for 5 sets. So this weekend, they're ready for the 5 sets, just in case, and for the rest of the season as well. But if it ends in 3 or 4, they're fine. They have more time to rest before, at least in this weekend's case, the next game, which would be on Saturday. But I don't think it has a ton of impact on the season. They're going to go no matter what.
All right. And are any players set right now to be either first or second All-SUNYAC?
From my point of view, the obvious first team, if she keeps it up, is Allison Sullivan. We already talked about her a little bit. She already broke the career block record for Oswego State earlier this year. She's a shoe-in. However, Shauna O'Flaherty, Lauren Fee, they're kind of bubble teams, or bubble first teams, excuse me. Probably going to make the second team, maybe not. Not exactly sure. You're going to have to see how the rest of the season works out. And really, a bubble second team could be sophomore Alyssa Lucier. She really had an outbreak weekend against the SUNYAC teams, but also Clarkson, where I even talked to her a little bit, and her outbreak has really led to such confidence.
I like it. I really hope that this team, there's a lot of players that are juniors or at least sophomores. They're all playing together. So it's really going to be just standing in front of the net and just knowing that, like you said, you have players that can win. And last question I got for you tonight before we keep you on is rough guesstimate with 13 games left in the season. How do you think the season will go and where they may end up in SUNYAC standings or even the playoffs?
It's kind of hard to tell this season. Last year, they had a really heartbreak of a season. I don't remember the exact story. I know they were in a 3-way tie with a couple teams last year. They had a single game to potentially make the playoffs, got the bad apple. They lost the game, even though they beat that same team in the season. I can't remember who the team was. I tried looking it up, couldn't find out. But they lost that team and didn't make the playoffs. So it really kind of settled bad with them. They weren't thrilled with the result, obviously. No one's thrilled without going to the postseason. So this year, it's kind of hard to tell for their second SUNYAC. We should be able to tell if there's a SUNYAC pool, if they're going to make the postseason or not. Depending on how it goes, if they go 2-1, 1 or 2, we'll find out. Playoffs, it's hard to tell without knowing a ton about the other SUNYAC teams. We're not going to know exact seeding yet. We're not going to know exactly who Oswego's facing first round, last round, whatever it may be. So it's going to be hard to determine. But right now, for standings, I see them right in the middle. Maybe top 4, top 5, top 6, right in the middle, so that they can make it. But it's going to be a bubble.
So they're really going to have to work, is what you're saying. I like it. They do have 6 games left in the SUNYAC. That's obviously going to decide the SUNYAC playoffs. But got some music playing when we come back. Ben is staying with us as Jake and I go head-to-head debating Oswego sports. You won't want to miss this.
Whenever there's bad weather, who would you turn to?
I'd turn to Storm Team 10.
No, but you've got to say it like this. Storm Team 10. Say it with me. Storm Team 10.
So good to see you guys.
So, what's up?
Oh, we finally bought a place.
Holy cow.
You seriously have enough saved to do that?
We've been putting a little aside each month.
Jeez, at the end of the month, we have nothing left to save.
Yeah, I have no idea where it goes.
Well, you're spending a lot on...
Is it good?
Oh, God.
Oh, how is my account overdrawn?
When it comes to financial stability, don't get left behind. Get tools and tips for saving at feedthepig.org.
Hello and welcome back to Laker Connections. It's the moment that everyone has been waiting for, and it's the first debate of the season. Let's start this Laker showdown. All right, so first off, does the women's soccer team have what it takes to get back into the SUNYAC playoffs? After 3-1 conference win seasons, will the men's soccer team... Oh.
That's the next question.
That's the next question.
We'll start off with the women's. And I'm going to say yes. All right, they're only a half game back in the standings right now in SUNYAC. They're playing very well. And their next three are against Plattsburgh, Potsdam, and Buff State, which Plattsburgh and Buff State are both low in the barrel. So if you can win both of those games, you come right back into the SUNYAC. You're in great standings, and you have a chance to probably fall middle of the tier and make it into the playoffs.
You know, Brandon, what you said there was just absolutely wrong because, Potsdam, Buff State, Brockport, those are the games. You were right about those because those games are coming up. But the thing is that they're going to lose those games. I don't really think they're going to get back in the SUNYAC playoffs. When I interviewed Brian McCrane and I asked him how confident he was with this team, he didn't really seem that confident. He was just saying that we got all these freshmen that are learning together. I'm like, yeah, you got this young team. You're going to be more into the rebuilding process, and next thing you know, it's going to take a while for that rebuilding process to occur. You're 1-1-1. You should have won that game against New Paltz. They should have beaten Oneonta. They were ranked higher than them coming into that game, and they still lost that. And this just isn't the team. This is still more of the rebuilding process we're going to see. It's going to take another few years to have this Oswego team get back in the SUNYAC playoffs, Brandon.
And now, I do like what you said. It's a young team. It's a rebuilding team. However, and this is, you're right. Hey, this is a big however. Like you said, they're hungry now. They lost a game they should have won against Oneonta. They've lost games that they should have won. They're hungry right now. They're ready to win, and they didn't, they haven't really exerted a lot of energy. So they are ready to win, and I feel like they have a great chance. All they have to do is win 2 of the next 4, and they're into the SUNYAC playoffs somewhere. No. So I definitely think they have a great chance to win.
Well, really, it's that negative mentality, and I think it's going to carry through the rest of the season.
All right. So after 3-1 conference win seasons, will the men's soccer team get more than one SUNYAC win this season?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Dan Kane, this is his second year coaching. I feel very confident. And I even think this weekend they can beat Potsdam and they can beat Plattsburgh coming into this weekend. They have a lot of confidence going into this game. They're home for both of these matchups. I think they can win both of them because I can speak for Dan Kane. You know, he is getting sick and tired of losing these home matchups. They're looking for Suniac wins, and I feel like this is the weekend. This is the opportunity for them to do that. I think that they'll get the job done, and I think they're going to change up their tempo with that counterattack, and they're going to be attacking very early in this one, and that's going to set the tempo throughout the rest of the game.
Look, it's already been 3 seasons that they've only won 1. You got to remember, there's 10 teams in the SUNYAC. They're going 1-8 3 straight years. I don't see any difference in these teams, unfortunately. And again, what we were talking about before, they only scored 8 goals in 9 games. How can you expect an offense that's already non-existent through the entire season to just turn it on at the end of the season? This is against prime SUNYAC matchups where the Oswego's the worst in SUNYACs, and it's hard to say, you know, it's very hard to say, but in goal scoring, they're last. In goals against, it doesn't even, I believe they're actually okay in goals against, but they lose games 2-0. It doesn't matter. They have no offense, and I don't see them winning any games. The only team that they might be able to beat is Geneseo, and that's about it. And that's the one game they're going to win. Everything else they're going to lose. I thought they had a chance to win any of these games this week, but after going 0-3, they have showed me nothing. And I feel bad for saying it, but I feel like they might go 0-9 this year.
All right, so I got to give it 1-1 right now. Jake, I think you won the women's soccer. Brandon, you won the men's soccer, definitely. Last one, I can feel the tension really rising in here. Is Katie Reynolds on pace to be first team All-SUNYAC in field hockey at the end of the season?
This is a very tough one. You know, I'm going to say yes because I think she will be able to step up. You know, look at the SUNYAC ranks. She's tied first in goals with 10, second in points with 20. Keep in mind she's first in goals per game with 1.29, and also first in points per game. Absolutely, she's going to be first team. And you know, with conference play coming up, she's going to make adjustments with her team, and not only she's going to be able to contribute in the scoring department. Look for her to be more effective in the assists as she gets the young freshmen the passes from her, and they will be able to convert. Brendan, yeah, absolutely, she's going to be first team All-SUNYAC.
It's hard to defute this point. It really is, but Katie Reynolds had 1 great game in the SUNYACs, and in the last 2 games against the SUNYACs, no, because the only one she had 4 straight goals, and then they've had 2 shutouts in the last 2 games. So in the SUNYACs, she's only done well in 1 game. They have 3 more SUNYAC games. I don't think she's going to do well in those, and I do not think for the rest of the season she will deserve it. Very hard to say.
Well, she had 2 goals against Nazareth.
We'll see how this ends.
Check the facts here. Come on.
Just come on. We're done. All right, that will wrap it up for tonight's edition of Laker Connections. Make sure you tune in next week and follow us on LCWTOP10. Thanks for watching.
Everybody can make something because I think everyone has a spark of creativity, and the reason that I have to keep making is because I don't think my life would be as fulfilling without it. If you make things yourself, that means you're not cowering in fear. You're out there taking chances. That, I think, is my way of saying I love you to the world. All right, now I want to hear why you make.
Share your own Why I Make story today. Visit whyimake.org.
Of all the things you've done with your bike, donating it to Goodwill may be the most incredible of all. Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
My new dad teaches me all kinds of stuff.
I wouldn't use this one.
He helps me with my decision making.
Never.
And he's even teaching me how to drive.
And that's why cars have bumpers.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are.
And then she was like, yeah. And I was like, no. And then she was like, yeah. And I was like, yeah.
Oh my God.
Oh my God, what?
Ryan just texted me.
Oh my God, what did he say?
Netflix and chill?
Netflix and chill, that's like so last year. It's all about WTOP movies on demand and chill.
You are so right.
Yo, bro, what's wrong?
Yo, bro, my girl left me, bro.
But why?
Because I don't watch WTOP 10 movies on demand.